Testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh my goodness. Alright. Oh, I got a ritual robe. I got the ritual robe. Yeah. Gotta dress like a sorcerer, like a crazy mad blood sorcerer. And you might be asking why all the Christian stuff? Well, it's an Atlantean symbol and a Templar symbol. No, I'm not gonna edit Jorg van Lans van Liebenfeld in this corner. You can already gauge what I politically am. You don't need me to talk about the Hollow Earth and Vril and how I think the British Empire should take over the world. You don't need to go there. Anyways, so, even though it should. Alright, where was I? Right. So this should be the last video I make on the Astral Vampirism 101 series. Not to say that I won't make more videos about Astral Vampirism. But yeah, this is my ritual robe. I do this when cursing pedophiles, communists. I don't think I can say the J word on YouTube. When I'm cursing, well, yeah, actually I can. When I'm cursing Jared from Subways, which coincidentally fits into the same category. But yeah, when I'm cursing bad people, right? And people are like, oh, like they always assume the predatory astral vampirism thing has something to do with the anti-cosmic Satanists of the Order of the Nine Angels, the Talmud, Order of Blood. Wasn't the Talmud Jewish and isn't the other one neo-Nazi? Well, they're not actually neo-Nazi, and they're the same thing. Anyways, they're more like neo-Talmud. Just as you wear a swastika doesn't make you a Nazi. Otherwise you had a conversation take up with my Indian roommate. You'd have a fun one with that one. But all right, now I'm trying to think. Yeah, people are like they think that I would side with the old world vampire werewolf European lodges because I'm not a fang fag. I'm not one of those idiots. It's not a kink. It's not a fetish, right? So I think oh, so you're legit. So you'd side with these kind of people. Now, I'd say that I'd be more partial to an order I'm not allowed to be a member of. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be. And that would be the Order of St. George. And we're not talking about the Order of St. George you could just look up willy-nilly. I'm referring, there's multiple orders with the same name. I'm referring to the one full of elite occultists that, are anti-reptilian or anti-archon that have a lot to say on vampires. Yeah, and I'm more partial to them. Is you got to think whether you're disconnected from source or connected to source. Whether you're a vampire or regular. If you're someone I don't like, I just say cattle. If you're someone I like, connected. But either way, it's like if you're legitimately an astral vampire and you feed on people. Oh. Ugh. And you feed on people, right? The notion of aiding the archons and being an anti-cosmic idiot, the notion of destroying reality to become an anti-cosmic god, the notion of all of that. Why would you want to participate, right? Because I like having food. If you destroy the habitat in which our food lives, the realm, then what the fuck are you going to eat? I've been reincarnating for millions of years and feeding off of the energy of mortals for thousands of years. And the notion of destroying a greater sphere of Yggdrasil is absolutely, if it's not, existentially terrifying, it's just a waste of good food. So wouldn't it make sense for actual vampires, not cringy Michelle Belanger and Jackson, Vampire Town, whatever his name is, and all these other weirdos, or even, the Michael Fleming type, the people that are into vampirism, like all of those idiots aside, if you're just, You feed on people, either their blood or their energy. Why wouldn't you become a protector of the realm, right? People are like, I'm the predator. I'm going to destroy the farm and burn everything on it. And meanwhile, the farmers were like, oh, jeez, what a fucking waste of livestock. That's not so good, you know. And yeah, again, people try very very hard to say that vampires are out to get you. We're out to ruin your emotions. We're out to ruin your life and drain you. Maybe the draining part's true, but we're not here to make your life any worse. In fact, I would prefer people to be spiritually healthier, mentally healthier, physically healthier, because we're only here to help. But you know, like, I mean, tell me, if you're drinking a milkshake, do you like when someone puts dog shit in it, right? So why am I gonna put dog shit into your life if you're the milkshake? You know, I try to be as positive as I can. Try to be a real gem to people if I can help it. Unless they're absolute piece of shit, then why not? So I'll find that you could say either I'm addicted to the human experience or the nature of how my type of vampirism was created. You're not going to find me siding with those that are like, yes, let's destroy our only food source. That's an overdrawn suicide. That's the plot of Castlevania. That's literally the plot of the Netflix anime, the Castlevania. Yeah, no, I don't remember. I think I watched that, but I don't remember how that ended. Were all the vampires on board? I can't imagine they would have been. Because what the fuck are we gonna feed on? So yeah, be anti-cosmic, pish posh. And plus, there's too many good things in this world, right? Like my love. Hey, love. Love. I love. I love. Yes. Yes. I love. She's only one of two that I call love. There's her. There's my love, who lives over in Essex. Now, the difference of it is she, no, well, I rather though my love over across the pond, eventually I'd like to shag her. This one I don't want to shag, right? The difference is I want to shag the one over in England, and this one is the one that keeps trying to fucking shag me. Yeah. I'll wake up in the middle of the night. I'll be having a good dream. I'll be like, oh, oh my, oh wow. And I'll wake up and she'll just be like, and I'll just be like, just go Arnold Schwarzenegger mode. Get off of me! Get out of here! We need to go! We need to go now! Get out! Get out of here now! But yeah, no, this love's obsessed with me, right? I'm not obsessed with her. She's a bit of a fucking moron, But how can you be anti-cosmic, right? And then look at a thing as ugly as this, right? How can you look at this ugly little thing? This is my vampiric partner in crime. No, she's not an astral vampire, but I tried to name her Nimue. Nimue is better, and I got bullied out of it. And they were like, no, name her Pepper. And I'm like, okay, Pepper. But her cult name is Nimue. And she doesn't care. But that is her name in the spiritual to address to the video is Nimue. Or Goblin. Hey, she looks like a little goblin. I call her William Dafoe. I want Spider-Man. I want Spider-Man. Yeah. She's animal abuse video. I'm going to be the next Hassan. Come on. Only real cats. You know, are you a house cat or are you an alley cat? Come on. Are you an aristocat? Come on, drink the beer, you fucking bitch. Sorry. Sorry, we're in 2025. You can't be doing this on video. Have a vape. Come on. You know you want it. Has nicotine. Yeah, you know you want it. Anyways. Yeah, she's like, I'm used to this, right? Aren't you a little used to it, you little you blah 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 blah. She's like, what the fuck? Imagine her as like a little having a little Chaplin hat and talking a little British accent and having her go, oh, or how do you do? I just okay, never mind. We're not gonna do that. Hmm. I'll say him. I wonder. I went a year sober. Yeah, and then I was working. I'm working 7 days a week now. So my lady don't have to work, and so my other lady don't have to work. So we got some Imperial Angry Orchard. And you know how I love colonization. It's at 8%. I love my hard cider. I went there and I was like, hey, you have any Strongbow? And they were like, oh, no, we don't. And I'm like, it was so hard for me not to call this guy a cunt. He's like, it's an Anheuser-Busch product, and I don't think we have it anymore. And pardon the accent, that's not intentional. I'm just a trashy upstate New Yorker. You know, that Watertown accent, you know. People are like, oh, you sound like you're from Minnesota. This is what I think of your soda. Fucking, or they're like, oh, are you from Canada? And I'm like, no. I'm a red-blooded British American, or Anglo-American, you know, fucking straight from the backwater of Syracuse and everywhere other north. That's my I can talk like this. I can talk stilted, like yours truly. The weather will be 40 degrees out, and you will be depressed. But you know, if I get drunk, it just comes more naturally to fucking, you know, whatever. Oh yeah. Oh, that's some good stuff. I'm gonna get fucking slosh. I'm gonna get fucking slosh in this video. Yeah. But yeah, no, and I know it's more common if you go to Buffalo where they're like, oh yeah, we got that accent, and then there'll be people in Buffalo that'll talk like this. They'll be like, oh, what are you talking about? But I've met people from Buffalo that are like, oh yeah, welcome to upstate New York, and then it's funny, you go to Syracuse, most people talk with the stilted Syracuse accent, but the thing is, if someone says they're from Syracuse, they're probably not from Syracuse because no one wants to live in that fucking shithole, right? With the south side, the north side, the fucking, you know, the gangs over in the Onondaga reservation that come over and sling drugs. And then sometimes you go on the outskirts of Syracuse. Well, we'll not talk about. And then no one talks about how the fucking Russian and Italian mafia are still a thing in Syracuse, but no one cares because whatever. You know, most people in the actual city are too busy slinging drugs and going to possibilities to even understand what the fuck is going on. But or they're too busy fucking going to Dave and Buster's over in fucking Carousel Mall, which is fucking not Destiny USA. You can suck my fucking cock. But yeah, you know, it's fucking Carousel, right? It's fucking Carousel Mall and not fucking Destiny USA. Welcome to Destiny USA. You can go fuck yourself. It's fucking Carousel Mall. They have a fucking carousel over in the food court or whatever. You fucking, you know, it's like there's some things that should remain the same. Like if they ever fucking tear down that building with the house on top of it, I don't think I'll ever be able to rest when they put me in my grave. You know, you know, even though it was a part of an advertisement campaign, and there was the urban legend that Oh, a man lived in the neighborhood before the industrialization, and they kept trying to buy his land. And he was like, "Fine, you can buy my land, but you have to put my house on top of your factory." It's not even a house. It just looks like a house, but the inside is just it's hollow. It's not a real thing, but it's that living lore, right? It's that organic culture, right? You know, it's like Heinz hot dogs. People travel from all across the world, all over the continents. They'll travel to Heinz hot dogs. Now, as someone who's kind of like born and raised in Liverpool, New York, they I'd walk by fucking Hyde's hot dogs every day. Gonna go to the Parkway and fucking go to the skateboarding area, and never eat there. But if they take it down, I'm gonna be fucking pissed. You know how pissed I was when they took down Galvale. Now, sure, it was a filthy place with like dead rats everywhere, but that place was founded in the 1800s and was really a part of the local pride. I don't even know what I'm talking about. We're talking about vampirism. Anyway, I'm terribly sorry about that. And as far as ruining local landmarks, you go to the fucking Split Rock Quarry over in what the fuck is it? Over in Camillus, you got, or I believe southwest of Onondaga, you got the fucking. It used to be a beautiful place, should have made it a monument, and they went there, and they were doing the cocaine, the heroin, spray painting it, shooting guns off, breaking glass, and now it went from a haunted place to a haunted shitty place. It was already bad enough what happened during the Great War, but you had to fucking go and destroy that. Because you're all idiots. I fucking hate you. You fucking local trash. Why is it, growing up, everyone I knew was a Democrat, and they all hated Cuomo, and Cuomo ran as a Democrat. And the few Republican upstate New Yorkers there are like, oh yeah, we fucking hate Cuomo. All the Democrats, oh yeah, fuck Cuomo. Cuomo's a fucking asshole. And then you see these fucking posters everywhere where they're like, fuck Cuomo, which is another local staple. And, well, here's the thing. Someone's not fessing up. Is one of you fucking voted for him? One of you did, right? More than half had to have voted for him to fucking become the fucking, yeah, like, which one of you voted? Come on, you're not being honest here, right? Everyone, left, right, they can all find unity and be like, yeah, Cuomo's a piece of shit. I can agree. And Albany, what the fuck is in Albany, right? No one goes to Albany. Does it even exist? I don't know, And there's another thing. So as far as identity goes, sure, we're Central New Yorkers. And then there's Western Buffalo type New Yorkers, Western New Yorkers. But then, and then there's New Yorkers. I'm a New Yorker. I have a pet rat with fucking fleas, and I fucking, I don't even know why I did the British accent, but fucking, if you know the history of fucking, it's very elementary level history, but fucking, you go to New York City, it's known since its creation as being this fucking economic black hole in which we drain all our fucking taxes into that fucking piece of shit. And, I hope it sinks into the ocean, right? I hope it sinks into the ocean, except for the 9/11 memorial, never forget. But I hope the rest of it just gets sunk into the fucking ocean. Is like, where does all our money go? You don't fucking repair the place. But yeah, no, like upstate identity, there's two forms of identity. There's identity where it's based off of like actual culture, art, local history, customs, and then just fucking hating something. And being like, oh, well, we hate this so much. We'll define ourselves off of how much we hate it. Now, I think most of us, she's chewing her foot, but I think most of us hate. I think most of us hate New York City. The Big Apple it's a big piece of shit. I think we all call ourselves upstate New Yorkers. Out of like, there's no defined line. It's all arbitrary. To call yourself an upstate New Yorker just really means anything south of Sleepy Hollow. It's being an upstate New Yorker isn't real. It's just a statement to say no, fuck New York, right? So we're like, people are like, oh, you're a New Yorker. Sometimes they'll just go, no, I'm an upstater, right? Just out of a posture, like, fuck these people, they can all die, right? Yeah, they say no more brother wars. These brother wars I'm okay with. They're fucking horrible. Alright, so where were we? Vampirism. How far into this video did I get? Oh, we're at 20 minutes in? Hell yeah. Alrighty. Alright, so in the last video, I was talking about the difference between the soul and the spirit. The mucus. I was talking about the soul and the spirit, and yeah. Basically, with the difference between the spirit being this kind of thing and how it like lives, right? You got to talk about the firmament and the platform, right? And it's the little grates that produce the little croto oil and all that. So how do I put this? All that debris, all that lead is talked about in the previous video, it gets sent through the cracks in the firmament to be dissolved. So the next layer of gold and lead can go in and then be separated for the little spirits that live on the souls, right? So it's safe to say that anything that is not attached, isn't a part of the platform of Source, the greater soul, Yggdrasil, which is connected to Brahman, the monad, right? It is to say that all this free-flowing debris gets sucked out, right? Usually it's gradual, depends, right? Because it's still sort of tethered. Everything in the sphere is tethered, so to speak. It depends on its substance, but it's not impossible for things to become disconnected by being sucked out. Now, the spirit, though, for some reason, and the soul by its nature is meant to be permanent. So when the soul of your soul, the soul of the spirit of the greater soul, if the soul was to be ripped from the greater soul to become independent, truly independent, it'd be like the movie Up without any steering wheel. Basically, the little house on top of the platform, if the platform itself was ripped out like a castle out of the mountain, it would just start floating upwards. Because, we all float down here. And, it'd be ripped out of the fucking firmament. And, but that would be not that great. It'd be fucking terrible. How do I put this? Fucking just be flung out of the cracks into the void and dissolved. Because the soul, even the spirit, is never supposed to be separate from existence. Now, this is a theory that often pisses people off, as it undermines all of their metaphysics, all of their beliefs. Because nothing can be separate from the great tree. Nothing can be separate from the mother. I would disagree with your assertion, my good sir. So, I would for obvious reasons, as I am disconnected from such things. Basically, how vampirism works is either through a deity, through a ritual, or some weird type of cosmic circumstance, or something of which I'm not aware. If the platform is ripped, or rather your platform is ripped from the greater platform, the reason why I said in the previous video that the platform in the greater body is made out of magnetic material, or material that can be magnetized, is because it comes down to a numbers game of entropy, right? If the soul, which is eternal, becomes something that is not a part of that which is eternal, it becomes entropic and just as susceptible to the void as every other elemental form of energy. And that's not good. Mine was through an ancient ritual, under mortal circumstances. No deity is connected to mine, but we'll get into the natures of deities and vampires and all that. But, so yeah. So basically, when my soul was disconnected from source, it was cut, it was sliced through my wings. Funnily enough, that would be to explain what I mean by that would be its own video. But yeah, anyways, my wings were cut. My wings were connected to source, but we're all connected to source. But think of it like an umbilical cord, so to speak, when you're in the mother and you're, tethered to her through the umbilical cord and you receive her nutrients, right? But it's a similar type of thing. It's very much a similar type of thing. And when you're cut from it, you're born from the mother's womb. You're slid out and disconnected. Now that's to make it sound like it's supposed to happen, when it's not. It's not supposed to happen, but it does quite often. And um, oh, that's some strong shit. Um, 8%. I used to drink fucking 20% without. I went a year sober, by the way, so this is my relapse. So it's like, dude, I want to fucking get my. I mean, I almost got the Labatt Blue because that real whole Labatt Blue and Labatt Blue, a little bit Labatt Blue. But anyways, all that aside, when the soul is disconnected, there is still that spirit. There is still the house. There is the castle on your platform. Now, this castle has no hard time, or it shouldn't ideally have any hard time feeding. The problem is if it's floating away and being cast out into the void will destroy the house. It'll destroy every aspect of it, including its platform, which will just dissolve, fizzle away. Then, in that instance, waiting for elemental energy to filter in through the filter, the refinery, and then into the gas tank, and then into the engine. Not so good. That you don't have the time, before you can process that vital energy through your chakras, you're gone, right? We'll explain what gone means for a vampire, because it's horrifying, and it's another thing people generally don't agree with, which makes them deny our existence. So, how do we put this? I think the previous part of the video is to cope humor with this, but yeah. So basically, we can create a reverse subtle emanation, if that makes sense. If you could view the little subtle emanation through the platform into your platform as a type of subtle little bit of vital energy that creates the spirit, then the spirit can create a subtle emanation that goes through its platform down into the greater platform to create a temporary seal, right? A magnetization where electricity goes to this broken magnet and it connects back to the bottom. And but the thing is, it takes a lot of energy to do that, right? And the rate at which it needs to connect, is a lot faster than it is to create the energy to connect it, right? So, in that sense, we are poisoned by elemental energy. People will say to the vampire, "Go outside and hug a tree, absorb the energy of the rocks." And that's about the same as telling a wolf to eat grass. They'll just start fucking vomiting it up. Elemental energy is toxic to the astral vampire. It is, we can't absorb the energy of the earth. And some are like, that's because you're dead to the earth, because you're monsters. Well, no, it's more about logic. If you have a creature on the evolutionary scale that is herbivorous and then it goes carnivorous over time, its intestine gets shorter and it loses the ability to eat plants. But also, that's not even the best example because, the reasons after the prior. Anyways, so It's to say that if we have a higher energy need to create our own anti subtle energy or reverse subtle energy on our end to connect, right? And we're burning more. Our nutritional needs or our spiritual metabolism burns faster than other metabolisms, right? And if it takes like a cow with four stomachs and all the bacteria in its stomachs to eat an entire field's worth of grass to keep that big ass animal alive, if it takes it eating an entire field of grass, and the only thing it does is eat grass. It doesn't have a complex hunting strategy, it doesn't have high nutritional needs. And the cow, all it does is just stand there, and when it doesn't do that, it sleeps or it mates, or sometimes it fights and runs around. But mainly, all it does is eat every single day, and that's all it does. And it shits, right? So it can afford to wait. The cow is always connected. It's not broken, right? It's receiving subtle energy, or subtle emanation. We're actually having to create subtle emanation, which no one's supposed to do. Creating subtle emanation is, if you're watching this and you're not an astral vampire, you're receiving subtle emanation right now. Almost every being in all of existence, from God to the dead, whatever, or gods to the dead to whatever, receives subtle emanation. We don't receive the subtle emanation. We have to create our own. Now, yeah, so you could think of subtle, like the platform is just being anchored, right? And just from the earth comes the subtle emanation. I already explained it. I'm not going to overdo that. Anyways, so how do we put this? Oh, that's the problem. It's not as potent. Oh, that's much better. Okay, alrighty. So, yeah, basically, if you have high energy needs and grass doesn't have good concentrated nutrients, in fact, it has oxalates, which are poisons in the plant because plants are living creatures and they don't want to be eaten. Herbivores have horns to fight off predators. Predators have sharp teeth and claws to kill herbivores. Plants have oxalates, they're poisons, and herbivores are immune to those poisons. If you have higher nutritional needs that mean you become a carnivore, and you can spiritually evolve, much like how physical creatures, it takes many different beings to evolve over an evolutional chain. But if you're a spirit, you can still be the one same creature and just evolve, right? And create semi-permanent changes with each and every cycle. And so if I become a carnivore, right, because I need that, I need to create my own subtle emanation, and I'm not eating elemental energy because I don't have the time to do it, then the impurities, the lead that your chakras could process, if the chakras haven't processed that elemental lead in thousands of millions of years, then you can see where that would be a problem, right? It's the same reason a tiger can't eat vegetables without vomiting, because it kills the predator. The predator has zero tolerance, right? There are all sorts of foods that humans eat that they can build a tolerance to, right? For instance, there's Tim Fraid. I guess I'll be editing stuff in. If not, then whatever. Look him up, Tim Fraid. He would inject little bits of venom into himself for like about a decade until he was able to have black mambas bite him. And so in that sense, you can become literally immune to venom, have your own antibodies that are immune to them, and you can adapt, right? But if there's no reason to adapt, and then you jump right into it, and you're siphoning the energy from a tree, that's going to clog your veins. As an astral vampire, that's going to make you really sick and make you want to fucking die. And yeah, it's the worst. No. It's not a good situation. I'm trying to find better ways to articulate it. Some people will still go, "Oh, what do you mean by this?" And I'll just be like, Yeah, what do you mean by this? But this is why I'm drinking again. No. Oh, what a waste. Anyways, oh man, you want some? You want some, little kitty cat? You want? Yeah, you're sniffing it. No, can't do that. That'd be not YouTuber friendly. But yeah, yeah. So it's just all the tolerance that you would have lost in the evolutionary cycle of the spirit is gone, right? So it's not even an option. So yes, most average everyday people can walk outside and without knowing it, even the unawakened that don't have an awakened third eye, for their chakras to function, for their spiritual body to function, or for their spirit to function, every day the normal people of this world absorb energy from rocks, from wind, from random ass fires, even electricity. They have all these varieties. Whenever there's the crystal lady that's like, and this is tiger's eye, and then this is fucking jasper, and then this is fucking red fire opal, I usually roll my eyes. This is I'm a vampire, I can't do anything. I can utilize it for sure. I can interact with every energy you can and utilize it in the same way as a sword, right? I can use elemental energy as a tool for ritual. I can manipulate it, right? Like any other sorcerer. I can't eat it. You can, right? So I'll continue in the rest of this video by calling everyone that's not what I am an elemental vampire. That way I'm not insulting you and calling you cattle or calling you the connected, which maybe the connected's all right. But elemental vampires, the person watching this, you're an elemental vampire. You can get the energy of a tiger's eye and absorb it and eat it, turn it into nutrients like a plant can, turning dirt into more plant, or a herbivore turning plant into more herbivore. I'm not doing that, right? Because there's like a little out of 100 pounds of tiger's eye, there's that little thing that I can consume. I need you to take care of that for me, right? So when people are like, I can absorb the energy of the fire, the earth, and the air, and the water, but then the avatar disappeared. Well, I have no source of reference. No source of reference. Astral vampires are completely cut off from utilizing the energies of the earth as a form of fuel. That is not a thing. And our critics will say that's why we're undead, right? Because they're dead to the earth. Alrighty. But the real reason we're undead, why astral vampires are considered undead, is because here's the thing. If we're disconnected from source and we fizzle away into the void, and subtle emanation is something that all living spirits and creatures across all of reality are entitled to. It's a sign that you're alive spiritually, even if you don't have a physical body, even if you died and you're a spirit or you were born a spirit, you're entitled to living if you have subtle emanation. Even rocks with their own primordial elemental souls that even don't really have spirits, they're just rock souls. Rocks receive subtle emanation. So a complex, fully evolved, conscientious astral vampire does not have subtle emanation. So even rocks are more spiritually alive than we are. The fact that we have to feed on other people's vital energy to create our own subtle emanation, to maintain our presence in Midgard, to maintain our presence in the material or spiritual universe. What would you call that? If subtle energy means or subtle emanation means you're spiritually alive, and you don't have subtle emanation, you have to create your own to hold on for dear life, then aren't we dead? So it's to say we're dead in that sense, that if we can't create our own vital energy, if we can't separate the alchemical gold from the lead and dispel the lead, if we're poisoned by the lead, if we take this gold and lead and put it in us, and we're like, lead, and then we have to vomit it out with the gold included, and we have to wait for you to be like, ooh, lead and gold, and then we grab your arm and we're like, so yeah, you have subtle emanation, and you have the ability to consume elemental energy. We don't. We have to consume your vital energy, which is your purified elemental energy, to create subtle emanation. And it starts in the cycle of subtle emanation and then consuming elemental energy, right? Because the soul is, or the spirit is above the soul, right? So ours works in the opposite. We're taking purified elemental energy to create subtle emanation. We work in reverse. If the sign of life is subtle emanation and then elemental energy consumption, and we work in reverse, we are subtle, we are, purified elemental energy and then subtle emanation. If it's in reverse, but we're also around, we're still functioning, we're still talking, so you would think, well, that would just be spiritually dead. Yes, but we're talking, we're articulating, we're interacting and participating in the same phenomena of eternity that you do. Well, then you would just be undead, So that's why we're undead, So we are undead, more undead than a literal zombie, right? It's, oh yeah, a zombie comes back, and it's like, no, down to the level of pure eternal essence, we are undead. We don't need to come back as a rotting corpse. No, we're more undead than the fictional depiction of a rotting corpse. So when people are like saying I'm undead, if they're not into Twilight and they're talking in an occult sense, that's what they're referring to when they're saying we're undead. So I have to clarify that little thing, right? But yeah, so how do I put this? I'll use the wolf analogy and then get into the mosquito, because, well, there are some vampires, mainly sympathetic vampires, which are elemental vampires that learn to be like astral vampires. Sympathetic, I think, is a perfect word for it, honestly. Like, I'm sympathetic to this. But yeah, so like there are those that will consume and crunch down on chakras. My morality, I do that if they're assholes, right? If they're a horrible person, if I'm at war with them, and the goal is to destroy their spirit anyways, and more than one person approves of it. It's not just an individual vendetta, me being a monster, but if I'm surrounded by people that are like, friends that are occultists, and they're like, hey, we need to take down this individual, and you're a veteran baneful practitioner. Also, I used to make $250 to $1,000 per baneful ritual, and I'm an expert on baneful magic. But anyways, so if everyone's like, hey, let's go into this occult war. Hey, Alex, you, or Viper, you are capable of destroying someone's spirit and their soul, but you will never make me that kind of monster. I will never be that. But, if you can destroy the spirit, can you do this for us, right? And I'll say yes. And in that sense, I can reach into someone's body, pull out their heart chakra, and bite into it, crack it, and slurp it, swallow it, and then swallow the shell. And I've consumed all 7 of an individual chakras, which killed their spirit. And, yeah, they still have their soul, but I fuck them up in a way that'll affect many, many reincarnations. I think that through their own subtle emanation, they can eventually regenerate chakras. It might not be for a few thousand years, though. So yeah, I can do that. And since, like, astral vampires, we're good at that. If we really wanted to, we could feed on the flesh, not just the blood. But that's not as... I like not having an angry mob outside my house. And I personally like the notion of being a symbiote, right? But not in the ethical fang-fag way where it's like, I help you, I feed on your trauma and your bullshit, and like, I'll, whatever. And like, we're all Lala fantasy people, and, we're really fae. We're just vampiric fae, and we're gay. No, not into that that jazz hands vampirism. I'm ethical. I'm an ethical baby witch vampire. No, no, I'd rather be a ruthless predator that everyone in the occult's like, let's hunt this guy down, than to be like that. No, but yeah, I have a subjective morality, mainly based around honor and loyalty. But if there's someone that's on my shit list and they're not spiritually tainted, and they like fuck, no, no, not if they fuck kids, because then I would be subsuming something. If they're just like an asshole that like, I can't think of any good examples, but if it's something that someone in this video is like, well, I don't believe in doing any of that terrible stuff, but this guy's a fucking piece of shit, and it's like, yeah, those kind of people, which I do that very rarely, because rarely there's ever a person that's so shitty that it warrants me doing such irreversible damage, or irrevocable. I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah. But I can. I remember biting into someone's throat chakra and snapping it in half, just breaking it, taking a chunk out of it. And, oh my God. Oh, oh, yeah, no, anyways. So the wolf will kill the cow. So that's not a perfect example. I'll be using the cow and wolf as metaphor for the metabolism, and then I'll get into me being more of a mosquito or a leech or a lamprey. But so how do I put this? Yeah. So I mean, like I said, the cow has 4 stomachs. It needs an entire 4 fields worth of grass. It doesn't have high energy needs. It has subtle emanation. It's anchor. It's a very grounded being. This wolf, it's not a very grounded being. Its energy needs are high, because it has complex we'll say cognitive function, hunting strategy, and all of that, like it having to move a lot, it having to think more precisely and plan. We'll use that as a metaphor for its need to create its own subtle emanation. So yeah, if you've ever seen a video of a dog eating grass, there's videos of dogs and cats eating grass. They vomit because they have a short intestine, and their stomach acid and their bacteria is not optimized for breaking down oxalates and fibers, so it just vomits it. So on the